In the 1980s, Europe was gripped by a strange and terrifying phenomenon. A single image, a mass-produced painting of a weeping child, was linked to a string of devastating house fires. In each one, the building burned to the ground, but the painting survived, completely unscathed. It became known as the Curse of the Crying Boy. What began as an urban legend soon spiraled into mass panic as firefighters, journalists, and frightened homeowners claimed there was something evil trapped behind the tear-streaked face on that canvas. Was it just coincidence? Or was a curse hidden in plain sight on the walls of thousands of European homes? The Crying Boy paintings were mass-produced works of art sold in department stores and markets across the UK and Europe during the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. They typically showed a young boy staring sadly at the viewer with a single tear rolling down his cheek. The most common version was painted by an artist known as Giovanni Bragolin, sometimes referred to as Bruno Amadeo, an Italian painter who reportedly created tons of variations. By the late 1970s, these paintings hung in thousands of homes. For many, they were nothing more than sentimental wall art. But in 1985, the image would take on a far darker reputation. The legend took root after a devastating house fire in Rotherham, South Yorkshire, England. The home of Ron and May Hall was reduced to ash, everything destroyed except for one object, a framed print of the Crying Boy. Even the frame remained intact. When the story was published in the Sun newspaper, it caught the public's attention. The article claimed that local firefighters were aware of multiple similar cases, house fires in which the Crying Boy painting survived without so much as a scorch mark. One firefighter was quoted saying, "I've seen cases where the whole house is gutted and the only thing left untouched is that picture. I'm not superstitious, but it's eerie." Firefighters from across the UK began to speak out, claiming they had attended numerous fires where the Crying Boy painting was found undamaged. In some cases, it was even hanging on a wall that had been blackened and burned around it. Several reports came from South Yorkshire, Merseyside, and Tyne and Wear. One crew member stated, "We don't keep track of these things officially, but you notice patterns over the years. And when you see a certain picture again and again in burned homes, untouched, it makes you wonder." The sheer number of similar accounts began to push the idea of coincidence into the realm of the impossible. As the story spread, rumors began to swirl about the origins of the painting and the supposed curse. One tale claimed that the boy depicted in the artwork was an orphan from Madrid, whose parents had died in a fire. Wherever the boy went, fires followed. Eventually, a priest accused him of being in league with the devil, and the child was cast out. He supposedly died in yet another blaze, and his spirit was said to have become trapped in the paintings. Another version of the story alleged that Bragolin had painted several children from an orphanage that mysteriously burned down shortly after the portraits were completed. While there is no concrete evidence for these claims, the growing number of unexplained fire stories cemented the painting's reputation as cursed. Case 1. The Fletchers, Bradford, 1985. A family home was destroyed in a blaze caused by a chip pan fire. Everything was lost: furniture, clothing, photographs, except the Crying Boy painting, which was found face down on the floor, completely untouched. Case 2. The Murphy family, Tyne and Wear. A fire ripped through their home, believed to have been started by an electric heater. The painting was still hanging perfectly on the wall amid the destruction. Firefighters confirmed they had seen similar survival of the painting in other homes. Case 3, South Yorkshire Pub. Fire. A pub that displayed a crying boy painting burned almost entirely to the ground. Again, the painting survived. Following the incident, the pub owner destroyed the artwork, something many frightened owners began to do themselves. By late 1985, public fear was so intense that the Sun newspaper offered to help. They launched a campaign urging readers to send their crying boy paintings to the newspaper offices, where they would be destroyed in a large bonfire. Hundreds of paintings were sent in from all over the country. On Halloween 1985, the paper held a public burning of the artworks, claiming to finally end the curse. Whether the campaign was a genuine public service or a publicity stunt is still debated. But one thing was certain: the fear of the crying boy was real. Skeptics have offered rational explanations for why the paintings survived fires. A protective coating. Many prints were coated with a fire-retardant varnish, which may have helped them withstand flames. The hanging location. In several cases, the paintings were hung on brick walls, which burn less readily, and may have shielded the artwork from direct flames. Coincidence? Given the popularity of the painting, it's statistically possible it appeared in many homes that happened to catch fire. However, even these explanations fail to account for the sheer volume of reports, or for the unsettling fact that, in many cases, the painting was found in areas that should have been destroyed. The crying boy fits into a long tradition of haunted or cursed objects, items believed to bring misfortune to their owners. From the Hope Diamond to the Busby Stoop chair, history is full of artifacts linked to tragedy. Psychologists suggest that once an object gains a reputation for being cursed, people start noticing events that fit the pattern and ignoring those that don't. A phenomenon known as confirmation bias. But that doesn't explain the strange feeling many owners reported when looking at the painting. The sense that the boy's sad eyes followed them around the room. Even today, the crying boy legend refuses to die. In 2010, a couple in Scotland reported that their crying boy painting, inherited from a relative, fell from the wall without warning. Moments later, a small fire broke out in their kitchen. They immediately removed the painting from their home. In 2015, a charity shop in England posted a notice warning that their donated crying boy print was possibly cursed, and buyers purchased it at their own risk. The shop owner claimed she was half joking, but admitted she was glad when it finally sold. Collectors still seek the paintings, some out of fascination, others to test the curse for themselves. Whether cursed or not, the crying boy has burned its way into modern folklore. It's a story about fear, coincidence, and the human need to find meaning in tragedy. Even skeptics admit the unsettling truth. In case after case, the paintings emerged from infernos without a mark, while everything else lay in ashes. And so the question remains, is it all coincidence? Or is there something about those tearful eyes that the flames dare not touch? Would you hang the crying boy on your wall? Or would you be too afraid of the stories you've heard tonight? If you've ever owned this painting or experienced strange events linked to it, share your story in the comments. Like, subscribe, and join us next time as we uncover more real-life mysteries and haunted objects from around the world. And remember, some curses can't be burned away.